Hi, my name is Cinnamon, and for my project, I chose to do it on living off of $10 per day. The reason I chose to do my project on poverty is because poverty is something that is really close to my heart. This past summer, I spent some time in the Philippines working with women who had been rescued from the sex trade and who are also living a life in poverty. And the summer before, I got to spend some time in Guatemala with families who have little tortilla companies and they live every day with $10 or less. So, over the past 2 years, I've kind of learned a little bit about families who live in poverty and how they get by day. So, I thought it would be interesting to see if I could use those skills here in America and how it would be different and what that would look like. So, for me, living off $10 a day is really difficult because I drive so much. I work in South Miami, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have school, and in between classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I babysit in Weston. So I knew that even now, most of my money goes to filling up gas. I have a Fiat, so I know to fill up my tank is like $20, $20 to $22. So, basically, for the first day, I decided that the best thing to do would probably, for the next 5 days, would be to live off of rice. So, I went to Publix and I bought a loaf of bread and I bought a bag of rice, and my total was like 5.50 or something around there. So, I had $5 left for the first day, and it was difficult, but I just put that money in my tank, and I started the week with no gas because I really wanted to see how living off of literally $10 a day would feel. So I started with no gas, so I didn't have very much gas in my tank at all, and it was really hard to get around. I had to be really careful about where I drove and stuff. So I came home, I made a big pot of rice, and basically, I just knew that I was going to be living off that for like the next 5 days, which kind of sucked, but whatever. So, day one, I did that, and it was okay. I felt okay. And then day two, I had a piece of bread for breakfast, and for lunch, I had some rice, and dinner, I had more bread and more rice, and it was terrible. Um, It was pretty filling though, so I wasn't hungry, which was a plus. And then that day, all my money, the whole $10 went into the gas tank because I had to work. And so the next day, didn't have to fill up gas because I still had some from the next day. So I was good there. So I got to use that $10 towards buying soap and shampoo and conditioner at the store, which I needed. And the next day was really difficult. This was day three now. I was totally over eating rice. I didn't want any more of it. I was tired. I wanted something different. And also, like in the morning when you eat bread for breakfast, it's like not filling at all. So I was hungry a lot of the time, and that kind of sucked. So basically, day three was a struggle. I was getting irritated at that point, and all my money was going to gas. I couldn't really go out with my friends. They would go out to dinner and invite me, and I couldn't go because, well, one, I couldn't afford to drive there and drive back. And then for two, I couldn't afford to buy food. So I had to like turn opportunities down to go out and have fun. And by day three, I was just kind of realizing that like living off $10 a day is like scary, kind of, because you really have no room for like injuries or, you know, extra people to feed. Like I couldn't imagine having $10 a day for and feeding having to feed a whole family. So that was kind of like an eye opener for me. I figured it would be difficult, but I didn't realize how difficult it would be with only $10 a day. That's not really a lot at all. So By day 4, I used all my money for gas, and I ate rice for the 4th day in a row, and it was really, really, really terrible. Um, and yeah, I just basically in the morning I would just pack my rice in a little container and I would eat it throughout the day. And I had my bread for breakfast. And then on day 5, I was totally out of money. I had no money left. Um, because eventually filling up my tank with $10 just like wasn't really getting me anywhere. Going back and forth to Miami with traffic and stuff, like I used a lot of money on gas. So I was really thankful that I had thought of like doing the rice thing, which is something that like overseas I saw them do a lot. Like a lot of the families basically live off of rice and bread. So that's kind of where I got that idea. So I knew I could do it, but it just really wasn't like enjoyable at all. And I didn't feel like my body was getting like the nutrients that it needs because I eat a lot of fruit, and it was kind of like I just felt deprived of like things that my body needed, but I couldn't afford buying expensive food. I couldn't afford to buy broccoli and spinach and the normal things that I have at my house. So I was really looking forward to like having like a healthy meal when I was done with this. So during this project, like I really enjoyed doing the project. It was a really cool experience, and I'm happy that I got through it and I was able to stick with it. But something that I just kept thinking of throughout my time spending $10 a day was that I knew that after 5 days I was going back to like my normal living. So, and also I knew that during this time I was like, well, if I get too hungry or if something serious happens, I have my savings account or I have my checking account, and I knew I could tap into that. So, it was me living off of $10 a day, but there was also the comfort of knowing that like, okay, I have money in case I need it. So, something that really stuck out to me and was an important factor was that the families who really do live off of $10 a day, they don't have that comfort and they don't have that luxury of knowing, okay, when the $5 is over, I'm going to go back to my normal way of living. I'm going to go back to being able to spend more money on gas and going out with friends and shopping and getting my nails done and the normal things that I do that I don't really like take the time to appreciate. So I can't imagine that like how stressful it is for them because that's their life. There is no end point. They don't see the end of the race. For me, when the 5 days is over, I know I'm going to get my grade and I'm going to move on with life and live normally. But for them, every single day, they have to wonder where that $10 is going to come from. Are we going to have enough money for food? Are we going to be able to feed the kids? And that's something that's really like scary. So I appreciated the project and it turned out well. So, yeah.